beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So guys, today is all about January of 2020, the first month of the new year, and I am so excited to help you figure out exactly what is going on for you. So in order for you to receive your prediction for January of 2020, I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from. So please pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. Just go with whichever crystal, whichever mineral that you feel really resonates with you and your vibe. So the 4 crystals are as follows. We have the Azurite, we have the Amazonite, we have the Howlite, as well as the orange Calcite. But as usual, you guys, the timestamps will be down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section for easy access from your mobile devices. We are in fact so close to 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to be able to say that you were part of the unicorn fam before we hit 100K, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And you guys, I always get a lot of questions about my jewelry, the crystals, the decks, etc. So the link to all of that is down below. So yeah, you guys, I want to keep the intro nice and short so we can spend more time within the individual readings. So I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Azurite, and to all the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Azurite, group number 1. I want to get straight into your reading about January of 2020. So let's see what's up for you. We have the Page of Swords, okay? Group number 1, the Page of Swords corresponds to air signs. So if you are an air sign, or that is just the kind of like intellectual, mentally sharp energy that you're going to be exuding in January of 2020, know that this reading is perfect for you. If you can already feel like kind of like almost like your mind has been sharpened, almost like you're a lot more on your game than you usually are, or you feel like you can see things a lot clearer, that is probably why you have tuned into this reading, why this reading chose you. So knowing the Page of Swords, that there is a lot of potential for great new ideas, for great new things to come up for you that you had not thought about earlier. But one thing that is a little bit of a challenge is just being confident to say like, yes, I want to follow through with this idea. I want to make sure that I use this in order to create something great. But let's move further into your reading. We have the 4 of Cups, we have the Queen of Swords, as well as the 4 of Wands. Okay, so on one hand, we have a time where there's a lot of celebration happening. That is one thing that I see here in the 4 of Wands for you, group number 1. But then at the same time here in the 4 of Cups, I see you being a little sad. I feel almost as though maybe someone has betrayed you, because in the Queen of Swords, we have somebody who is caring, but who is also very logical and does not like lies, okay? This person does not like to deal with any fibbing, with anybody telling like half-truths or leaving information out, which is like my pet peeve, okay? I can absolutely not stand when people leave out vital information that they know that I would want, but then they say, well, I didn't lie. Well, okay, you know, I feel like that is like a very personal decision. For me, that is categorized kind of as lying, because you knew that I wanted the information, and just because you didn't give it to me or you didn't mention it does not mean that you're excused from lying. But you know, opinions differ there. But definitely, you know, I see kind of like a situation like that happening. I see something being left out to the point where maybe you need a good cry, maybe you need a little bit of time to just, you know, let the situation pass by, to just get to a point where you're back on your A game, where you're back to your Queen of Swords business, where you're confident, you're logical, but you're also very decisive when it comes to who you spend time with and who you allow into your emotional plane. So stay like that, group number 1, okay? I think it is amazing that you are the kind of person who will not allow others to walk all over them. Of course, it hurts when people don't tell you the truth, when they lie to you, when they deceive you, but at the same time, you are able to say to yourself in January, I'm not going to let this affect anything. I'm not going to let this affect my new year. I see here in the Four of Wands, as I said, celebration, letting go, having fun, and you're all about that in January of 2020. So don't worry about, people trying to affect your fresh start of the year negatively. Just sort of make sure that you tell yourself that that is not the vibe, that is not what we're doing in this upcoming year, and you're basically going to move on and keep it logical. And by logical, I mean, you ask yourself, what will this do if I'm mad about this? This is not going to benefit the person who told a half-truth or a lie or wasn't very kind to me, and this is also not going to benefit myself. So even from a completely selfish point of view, it is more useful to forgive other people. It makes more sense to forgive other people and move on, because otherwise you're just wasting precious time and precious headspace where you're thinking about things that are not positive. You're thinking about things that will not do anything for you. So that is kind of what I see going on here mentally for you in January. Then we have the Appetite as well as the Malachite. So the fact that you're able to see past these little things, the fact that you're not wanting to micromanage the situation, that you're just kind of over it and you're saying to yourself, I'm not gonna deal with petty stuff. I'm too mature for that. I definitely see that this will bring this divine shift of prosperity into your life. That is one thing that I see in the Malachite. And this shift may result in you having a better financial outcome next year. This may result in you having just a time where prosperity is not even a question. Things are just rolling and happening, and you're just watching this sort of magic unfold in January. And then we have the Appetite, where it's all about progress. So especially if you're doing your own thing, if you're a creator, if you're somebody who has maybe their own business, I want you to know that what is really important is progress, not getting it out to be completely perfect. And that is one thing that is really, really hard to do, especially when you want to get something right. But trust me, it is better to just start making moves than allowing yourself to procrastinate because you want perfection to be the end result. So prosperity is here for you, but you may not be able to make the most out of it, group number one, if you allow yourself to procrastinate or tell yourself, oh, well, I don't want to really upload this yet. I don't really want to publish my blog yet. I don't want to put that first YouTube video out yet because it's not perfect, because I feel like it's not up to par. And that is where we get into this vicious cycle of comparison, which is, of course, something that is very toxic. When we compare ourselves to other people, it's just automatically is a negative thing. It is automatically, we can't win, okay? Because there's always going to be somebody who portrays things in a better way. There is always going to be somebody who is doing something that you still would like to achieve. And that is just the reality. So know that as soon as you begin to compare yourself, you can't win. So don't even go there, group number one. Then we have negativity. So even your guides want you to really steer clear of this, okay? Because they're saying that as soon as things go super well and amazing for you, you're kind of like, what's going on? When am I gonna be hit on the head by a rock or something? You're kind of a little bit suspicious of why everything is going so well. Don't do that though, okay? That is just negativity that you don't need. Ride the wave in January. Know that this is a year that is starting off on a prosperous note for you. So allow yourself to know yeah, I deserve this. This is my year. Let's move further into your reading. We have sensitivity as well as barriers. So group number one thing that I see here is that you may be a little bit sensitive to BS, okay? And we already spoke about that at the beginning, about somebody or a situation that is deceiving you, that is not being truthful, and where you feel like you've been played, okay? And I want you to know that if you are in this, well, you definitely are in this sensitive space, okay? And I don't want it to affect you, which we said, you're probably just gonna move on because you're mentally very strong, but deep down, it is still going to maybe chisel away at you a little bit. So reinforce boundaries between yourself and any negativity or negative experiences. Don't say to yourself well, maybe I had a part to play, but I'm just gonna move on. Really dissect every little detail, really look into what happened, what transpired, and how you feel about yourself now. So if, for instance, somebody says to you, well, I didn't tell you the truth because I didn't want you to get mad, you should not think to yourself, oh, well, you know, maybe I deserve that. Maybe they did the right thing because they were afraid that I was going to get mad, because that can start to slowly change the image that you have of yourself, and that can slowly sort of like start to hurt your self-image. So make sure that there is a clear boundary there, that you really discern between what's right and what's wrong, what's your fault and what is completely not your fault. If somebody does not tell you the truth because they're worried that they're going to hurt you, or they're worried that you're going to get mad, then know that that is not a good person to have around. That is a toxic situation, because it is way better for you to just know the truth than to continue believing a lie. So let's move further into your reading. We have the Calcite as well as the Peridot. So for you, group number 1 in the Calcite, I definitely see busy times as well as a tendency to try and multitask, but don't do that, because multitasking is basically just switching between different tasks very rapidly, which stops you from ever getting in that flow state where you're just kind of like, you don't even realize how quickly time goes by. You get what I'm saying, group number 1? So in the Calcite, I definitely want you to like honestly assess the underlying reasons for why you're busy, because sometimes we have a friend who asks us to go out and we say yes to that. Then we have our parents who say, oh, can you please do X, Y, and Z for me? We say yes to that. Then you have some sort of event that you can go to and you say yes to that again. All of those things, well, I mean, okay, you can't really say no to your parents, but some of those things are maybe not necessary. Some of those things are things that you maybe just put on your plate that have now filled up your schedule, and now you feel like you're so busy, like you don't even have an ounce of time. But that sort of grocery store run that you don't really need to do because there is still food in the cupboards, or that going out for dinner that you can also cancel because you do actually have to study or do work or just take time for yourself, you might feel all of a sudden like this grand pressure to fulfill these things, even though they're not all that important, even though they're not like going to decide over whether you have a good day, a bad day, a good month, or a bad month. You know what I'm saying? So really like make sure that you're being objective here with the things that you have to do. Everything that must be done, that has to do, for instance, with studying, with your work, with making sure that all of your paperwork is in order, your credit card bills are paid, etc. Make sure that you focus on the things where you just cannot skip out on them. And everything else, if you're feeling overwhelmed in January, try and scale back a little bit. Try and just create these barriers between yourself and making a lot of plans that will in the end stress you out. You know, when you make plans and you just hope that the other person cancels because you don't really want to go, that's what I'm talking about, group number 1. Then last but not least in the Peridot, one thing that I see here is that in January you can break free from reoccurring negative patterns, because you will have the motivation to start new habits, to start new patterns. And that is one thing that I always recommend for everybody to do. Don't start New Year's resolutions, okay? Don't try and go there. Instead, create New Year's habits, and you don't have to wait till the new year to do so, okay? That is just like another form of procrastination and just putting it on the fact that, oh, like it's a new calendar year. Well, you know, it's a new day, it's a new minute. Like we don't have to make it on the new calendar year. You can start improving now. So try and start with like new habits that can replace old negative habits. So if you, for instance, would wake up every day and it's very hard for you to get out of your bed, to motivate yourself, then make sure that you make it a habit to actually go to bed earlier. So instead of just crawling into bed at 11 and being up till 1, crawl into bed at 8 and make sure that you're asleep by 10. And that will give you the energy to wake up to be motivated, or have something that motivates you that you do right at the beginning of the day. So maybe you're always really excited to read a certain blog, or just to do something, maybe to eat something, and instead of like moving it out into later in the day because you're stressed out in the morning and you don't have a lot of time, wake up earlier and do the thing that you love, because that will excite you and motivate you to get out of bed. So group number 1, this is the reading that I received for you for January of 2020. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home and what you feel like you are going to be implementing in January of 2020. So wherever you are in this world, group number 1, I hope that you're having a fabulous time, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amazonite group number 2, and I want to get straight into your reading to figure out exactly what is going on for you in January of 2020. So let's get right into it, shall we? First and foremost, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So in the Queen of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is material prosperity, okay? I see that things are going well for you in the earthly realms. I see that, you know, you might find a little extra 20, 50, $100 in your bag, in your pocket, wherever it is. And I definitely see that you're feeling like, you know, this year is really going to be something in the earthly realms. You're really going to finally hit your financial goals and targets, and that you're just on a roll, okay? I see you starting it on a very positive note, and on a note where there is a lot of hope. You know what I mean? Like, maybe in the past you may have felt like, oh, I'm never going to reach the lifestyle or the financial goals and targets that I've wanted to, but now you see things from a fresh point of view, and you're allowing yourself to really believe in you, which is so important for you, group number 2. Then we have the Knight of Swords. So group number 2, the Knight of Swords, one thing that I see here is that you may try and take things forcefully by using your words in a way that is borderline kind of like pressuring, okay? I see that when you want something in January, you're going to make sure that you do whatever you can in order to get it. So that may be with friends, with family, and you know, that's okay. We all have our little phases where we can be a little bit pushy. So this may be something that is very important to you, okay? So maybe it is important for you to spend more time with friends and family, so you're trying to be a little pushy about making time with that. You know, this does not have to be something negative. Being pushy could be just out of the sheer necessity of knowing that maybe you don't have so much time left with your friends and family for whatever reason, so you want to make the most of it. Or maybe you know that, say, work is going to be so crazy in February, March, April, and you just really want to use the time that you have in January wisely and to make sure that you're making the most out of it, okay? That you're spending a lot of time with your loved ones. Then we have the Chariot as well as the Six of Swords. So we do have 2 sword cards here, okay, which are of the minor arcana. It is very important for you to know here that this sort of like air sign energy is what is mostly around in January. So being very witty, very quick, very sharp, very intelligent. And in the Chariot, I want you to know that it is important that you take the reins back into your position and just steer things in the direction that you want. So you're already doing that kind of verbally by trying to push things towards what you feel comfortable with. But another thing that you have to do is actually take action, okay? Not just talk, but take action. Group number 2, I don't want to call you out or anything, but it is very important that you walk the talk that you're talking, and you have to do that in every aspect. If you say to yourself that, oh, I'm being healthier, I'm working out, then actually do it, you know? And I know that it's hard, but once it becomes a routine, once it becomes a habit, things just fall into place and become so much easier for you to cope with, group number 2. So allow yourself to put in that extra effort just to make sure that you're not just speaking words that have no weight, because nobody wants to be that person, group number 2. So try and choose your words a little more carefully than you maybe usually would. Then we have Answers Within, we have Growth, as well as a Nurture. So group number 2, I definitely see here that the answers that you're looking for, so you have things that you're asking yourself in January, group number 2, and mentally, as I said, there's a lot going on, okay? There's this air sign energy that is decisive, that is not here for sob stories. And in Answers Within, I want you to know that when there's something that you're cracking your head over, that you're just like, why is this happening? What is the answer to this? I want you to know, group number 2, that you have the answers within, okay? If you ask yourself, how can I reach my next target in life? And you're like, I know what the goal is, but I don't know how to get there. Then the problem is not the way, okay? You already know the answer. You know what you want, but it is important for you to actually put in the work. It is so important for you to actually just say to yourself, this is the goal, and I will just allow myself to slowly, like step by step, work towards the goal. And if you're insecure about that very, very like first step, then make sure that you grow. I mean, I completely understand. It is kind of like hard when somebody says, oh, just set your goal and don't worry about the how. I get that, group number 2. But sometimes when you set your goal, you should not worry about the how still, but what you have to do sometimes is invest in yourself, is invest in growth, invest in more mental clarity. You are quick, you're witty in January. It's important for you to use that sort of clairvoyance that you have within your head to fill that up with new knowledge that is going to get you to where you want to go. So that is what I mean by answers within. Like, you know that you have to study more. You know that you have to inform yourself about how you can, get this business going. You know that you have to read up on how to just be a great leader at your work. All of those things are answers that you already have, but what you're maybe really looking for is an answer that is more nurturing. Because honestly, group number 2, I get it, okay? When the answer is just study more, just inform yourself more, like, who wants to do that? Honestly, you would rather just hear like, oh, all you need to do is stay positive and things will happen. I mean, staying positive is one aspect that is very important, but at the same time, you got to put in the work, group number 2. There's no way around it. So make sure that the things that are bugging you, where you feel like you're kind of stuck, that you actually just put in the work and then see things start to move again. So don't stress out about it too much. Don't allow it to make you feel like you're stagnant. You can get out of that complacency very quickly. So as you guys know, whenever any cards like pop out of the deck, that is a sign, okay? We are including those cards, and I don't care that this is a pretty thick stack. Let's see what the universe has to say about your life in January of 2020. We have the Larimar, we have the Tiger's Eye, we have gold, we have the amethyst, we have the angelite, as well as the sodalite. So group number 2, let us get into this. So first and foremost, in the Larimar, one thing that I see here is a time of heightened emotions. So especially if you're a water sign, this will affect you even more. You may have like very, very high running emotions that run high. You get what I mean. You can have very, very like sensitive emotions that put you in a headspace where sometimes you feel hurt, you feel sensitive, you feel like you need somebody to nurture you. So what I see for you here in January is that, this just calls for a little bit of extra self-care and making sure that you surround yourself with people who are gentle with your emotions and your feelings. So if you have like a sibling, a family member, a friend who is like a little bit more on the direct side, maybe tell them like, look, I'm just like in a rut, I'm just in a very emotional place, so like I would appreciate if you would just let me like cry for 5 minutes. I would appreciate if you can just let me be sensitive and not tell me to not be sensitive. You know what I mean? Just be open, just put it out there. Don't make it a secret, because that will just cause fights and conflicts. Then in the Tiger Eye, one thing that I see here is that self-confidence can come for you through not only believing in yourself, but also in believing in the universe working through you. So here we have self-confidence through God confidence. So it does not matter whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in the laws of attraction and the laws of nature, or as I'm saying, this is all inclusive. My channel is not about making a difference between what we believe in. My channel is about knowing that you can be confident through, believing in yourself, as well as through believing that this world is not out to get you. This world is here for you to prosper, to thrive, and there are opportunities out there. And whoever you want to manifest that through, whatever you want to manifest that through, make sure that you keep your faith strong in whatever it is that you feel motivates you and really gets the best out of you. Then in the Angelite, one thing that I see here is that a spiritual or religious community may be the answer for you, but any community will do. If you're not very spiritual or very religious, it doesn't matter. You know what? Join the community of animal lovers. Join the community of cooking enthusiasts. Whatever it is that gives you that feeling like you're around people who have the same interests as you, that is what I see that will really help you in January, that will help you not feel so alone and help you not feel as though your emotions are like overly heightened and sensitive. And that is one thing that I see here in the Six of Swords for you, group number 2. I see that you may feel almost a little bit abandoned. You may almost feel a little bit like you're alone in this world, but just joining a community is one thing that can really, really help you overcome those feelings. Then we have the Sodalite gold as well as the amethyst. So I definitely see here that it's important for you to just be yourself, okay? In the Sodalite, I see that it's like very essential for you to not act like a hermit too much, you know what I mean? Like, go out, have fun, live your best life, socialize, speak to people, don't feel awkward, because whenever you feel like you're an awkward person, like that is when the situation becomes awkward, group number 2. So keep that in mind and know here that revealing your true self is what will really allow others to love you. That is like what will really allow them to connect with you on a very authentic level. So if you feel a little bit uncomfortable showing people who you truly are, know that it is probably best to hang out with people where you do feel comfortable, and also to just practice getting out of your shell a little more day by day. Last but not least, in gold, I want you to know here that there are signs coming your way in January. So this could be in the form of synchronicities. This could be in the form of just, you know, something happening where you just think to yourself, this is not a coincidence. I am not seeing 444 for the 6th time today because it is a coincidence, you know? So you're going to start to notice these little things, and it is basically the universe, God, your spirit guides, you know, the laws, it's just showing you that you're on the right path, showing you that this is what you need to look out for, and this is where you can really, really make progress. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful. I hope that it gave you inspiration as well as motivation. Let me know down below what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Howlite, group number 3. So let's do a little close-up just so I can show you the gorgeous, gorgeous gem that you chose. It is very marble-esque, and that is what I really love about this. But let's move straight into your reading about what's going on for you in January of 2020. First and foremost, we have the sun. So group number 3, I have amazing news for you, okay? January of 2020 is going to be a prosperous month. It is going to be a month where you feel abundant, where you feel like there is a lot of joy, light, and energy within your realm. So even if the weather wherever you live is kind of sad, know that things will be really happy and fun around you, internally, emotionally, just as a whole, okay? So really enjoy this month. Really allow yourself to appreciate the beginning of this new year of yet another cycle in your life, and to just be grateful for anything that comes your way. Then we have the High Priestess as well as the Three of Swords. So group number 3, one thing that I see here in the High Priestess is just this sort of like authoritative vibe, okay? I just see this vibe where you're putting yourself out there in a way how you're being decisive, you're making the decisions, and you don't really care if anybody doesn't like it, and that is a really cool vibe. That is something that I like. But in the Three of Swords, one thing that I want you to look out for, group number 3, is just to make sure that you don't allow yourself to hurt other people, okay? So I know this is really hard for me to say. I don't know why it took me so long to tell you this, but yeah, don't allow yourself to hurt other people. I mean, it is great to be decisive, to know what you want, and to tell people what you want, but at the same time, like, you may really cause some friction in one of your relationships if you're not careful with how you word things, especially in love. So this is a time in January where Your relationships are going really well, your platonic relationships, so that is friends, that is family, but your romantic relationships may be at a place where you feel a little bit stagnant, a little bit like something is missing, or a little bit like, you know, just unhappy, just almost like you're in a state where you feel like crying, where you feel like your heart is a little bit broken. But let's see what else is coming for you, group number 3. So we have the 5 of Cups as well as the 3 of Wands. So one thing that I see here is that you will probably come to realize here romantically that what you really need is change. What you really need is change for yourself and your relationship internally. So this, even if you're not in a relationship, I just want you to know that coming to this realization that it would be the best thing for you to change a few things about yourself in order to attract love. It may be really hurtful. It may be something that is a very, very hard pill to swallow, but know that it is essential for you, because in the 3 of Wands, one thing that I see is just this new plane opening. So working on yourself and telling yourself like, okay, I have to raise my standards. I have to raise my vibrations. If I want to be happy and fulfilled in love, I have to make sure that I really get myself on track. And I see that that will come with a lot of cool, new, and inspired ideas. Okay, you taking action in a way how you maybe usually would not take action. So getting out of your comfort zone romantically is one thing that I see you first struggling with, group number 3, but then really using to your advantage, then really turning into something amazing where you're just like on this cool new journey. So let's see what we have here for you. We have the fluorite as well as the lapis lazuli. So in the fluorite, one thing that I see here is that you just have to like keep in mind to take care of your natural beauty. So there are a lot of things these days on the market where you can change your looks. Okay, you can wear contacts, you can wear wigs, you can wear different kind of makeup outfits, and those things are all great, but keep in mind that some of these things really cover up what is naturally you. So for instance, I love to wear wigs. I love to, you know, just change it up. And that is one thing that I really like. I love to wear makeup, but at the same time, wearing a wig, like I'm putting my hair away. I'm like hiding my skin, you know, my pores, the texture, all of that by using makeup. So allow yourself to like go out makeup free, allow yourself to, you know, go out without, say, a wig if that's something that you wear, or extensions, and just allow like your body to breathe a little more. That is one thing that I see that is important for you. It is essential for you to maintain a healthy balance, and sometimes your body just needs a little bit more time to be its natural and authentic self. And I want you to learn to love every bit of it. You know, go out without makeup and feel confident. I mean, I know that I almost never wear makeup when I leave the house. I usually wear makeup to film because I love the application process. I love seeing what I can do with it, and it just makes me happy. And that is not something that anybody should take away from you or tell you to stop doing, because honestly, if something makes you happy, if something makes you feel like you can be creative, like you can just be another person or go into, like, dive into a different world, that is something that you should definitely encourage and that we should be encouraging in society more. It is very sad to see that when somebody is authentically being themselves, you know, wearing makeup that is really out there, wearing an outfit where maybe they feel like, you know, wearing something that is completely veiled and covered, or they feel like showing off their body because they're comfortable in their own skin. And just the fact that in this day and age, we judge that so much, and we automatically think that we know who this person is and what their downfalls are, their shortcomings. It is sad, but we don't do that here, okay? This is not the channel for that. The Unicorn Fam, we are open-minded, okay? We know that everybody has their phases that they go through. Everybody has things that they want to try with their appearance, with their life, with just their looks. And that does not mean that we don't love ourselves. That does not mean that we're unhappy. That just means that we like to experiment and we like to, you know, switch it up. Just being the same day in, day out. I mean, for some people, that's what they want to do. For some people, they would rather switch it up. So keep in mind that there is nothing wrong with that, but also allow your skin, your hair, your nails, whatever it is that you may sometimes be covering up, to breathe. Of course, if you're a man and you like to, for instance, dye your hair, or you're really into grooming yourself, you're really into wearing certain clothes, allow yourself to like tone it down a little bit more in January on some days, because your body just needs it. So let it rest. In the lapis lazuli, one thing that I see here is that there will be a very big epiphany coming for you in January of 2020, and it's important for you to be prepared for that. And that is most likely why we spoke about the fluorite and just allowing your natural beauty and authenticity to be the one that prevails and shines. So you might not have as much time to even play around with looks as you wanted to, just because this life-changing moment is going to use up a lot of energy. It's going to use up a lot of headspace. And it's important for you to be present. This is an epiphany that is a moment where you come to big realizations, such as, for instance, that you have been supporting slave labor if you have been buying fast fashion from certain brands, or maybe you will come to the realization that you have actively been fueling animal cruelty by eating meat, and that is something that you maybe want to like cut down on, or make sure that you're purchasing all of your things from a sustainable source. So these are just examples. I mean, we are all imperfect, okay? We all do things where I think we've all done something where we have supported an organization that is not doing things the way they should, that is harming the planet, people, and animals. And it's inevitably something that is a part of life. I mean, anywhere that you go, somebody is kind of like paying for our life. Somebody is paying for what we're doing. It is either the planet paying, you know, the ecosystem. It is maybe people who do not have privileges that we have, or, you know, it's animals who are paying for our life. So just, you know, take a moment to be grateful that so many people and things have fallen into place just so you can lead this comfortable life today. That does not mean that, you know, you can't change certain things, but at the same time, we're not expecting you to be perfect. You know, nobody is perfect, and nobody ever will be perfect. And there are certain things that you maybe just want to have in your life regardless. But then there are other aspects where you can make very conscious decisions to support the right thing. And I don't want you to beat yourself up about this. I want you to allow this epiphany to be pure. I want you to allow this realization to put you in a headspace where you're just striving to become better and better and better, and just get to a point where you feel proud of yourself, and like maintaining what you're doing already puts you in a very good spot, in a very caring spot for the environment, for other human beings, as well as just anything that lives on this planet. So group number 3, we have forward movement as well as awareness. So January is definitely, you know, coming with this awareness, as we spoke about in your epiphany that you're going to have in this life-changing experience. It is going to open up a new awareness. All of a sudden, you will be more aware of what you're consuming. You will be more aware of how you speak to people, and maybe just, you know, your gestures, maybe your body language, and that will jolt you forward immensely, because the forward movement is happening because you're now realizing that. And when you come to these realizations, that is when you can actually work on things. If you didn't realize that you were doing something, how are you supposed to change it or work on it? You don't know what you don't know. That is basically what the key is here. But as soon as you do know, group number 3, this movement forward, this change is going to have a very positive impact on you. Then we have the charoite as well as the rubellite. So in the charoite, one thing that I see here is that it is important for you to know that you're being watched over spiritually. So while you're going through this sort of like epiphany, make sure that you continue to fuel yourself up with content that really makes you feel good, you know, with content that motivates you. Yes, you're naturally protected in January of 2020, but that does not mean that you should surround yourself with anything that is dragging you down. Make sure that you only consume sort of media that is in alignment with your epiphany, that is in alignment with your realizations, and that you keep your energetic levels where they need to be. that way. Then in the Rubellite, one thing that I see here is that you have a lot of enthusiasm, okay? You have a lot of passion, and I see that that will allow you to create very meaningful things. So sometimes it can be really hard to figure out exactly where we're going, what path we're on and so forth, what we're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, but think about the things that you're passionate about. If you're passionate about, for instance, spirituality, why not try creating your own readings? If you're passionate about drawing, about helping other people, about children, know that the passion can really fuel you giving yourself a purpose, okay? Because when you're in a job where you feel like there's no purpose, if you for instance just get like rolls of money every day and you just count those and put it into a system. Simple job, same thing, every day, like, you know, the same routine, you may sort of start to lack purpose. You may not, but you may start to lack the feeling of purpose. So keep in mind that it's very important for you to do something that fires you up. I mean, obviously maybe counting those rolls of money would fire you up. We're all different, but for a lot of us, that would become boring. For a lot of us, we would start asking ourselves, like questioning our existence, and that can lead to a very dark and depressed place, group number 3. So don't allow that to happen. Make sure that you're fueling the things that you're passionate about, that you keep moving in that direction, even if that means that you maybe have to change a course of your studies. Maybe you have to change your major. Maybe you have to start looking into switching jobs and moving countries. Whatever it is that would entail, know that it inevitably has to happen, or you will feel almost like you're lacking purpose, or you will feel almost as though there is something that is missing in your life, and it will bug you, group number 3. So make sure that you follow up on that. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the orange calcite, group number 4, and I'm so excited to be reading for you. So let's get right into January of 2020. First and foremost, we have the 10 of Cups. So the 10 of Cups is the ultimate card of emotional fulfillment. So love, partnerships, friendships, just, you know, that warm, fuzzy, cozy feeling. That is what I see for you throughout January of 2020. This is especially true for water signs. The cups correlate to water signs. So if you are a water sign, this is going to make you feel so content, so loved, so happy. So look forward to January of 2020 because your mindset has a lot to do with it as well. If you're happy in your mind, if you're just sort of like taking everything as it comes and reacting to it in a way how everything just has like a positive spin, then that of course will further feed into this emotional fulfillment, group number 4. Then we have the 2 of Swords. So you do have like a little bone to pick, okay? You do have something where you're kind of like unsure how to move forward. You have a decision that needs to be made where you almost feel like you don't know what to do, where you feel like you're left in a spot where you just have to blindly trust your intuition. So group number 4, I want you to actually do that, okay? And I know this is really scary, like revelation, trust your intuition. No, but honestly, sometimes you have to just go with what your gut is telling you to, even if your mind is telling you to do something else. If your gut feeling is telling you like, no, don't move into this house, like, no, don't move across the country, don't be with him, don't text him back, don't allow your ex to come back, like, you have to trust your gut. You know, if you already have a bad feeling that is sort of like creeping up, you know it's not right. So stop trying to reason. Stop trying to tell yourself, well, you know, logically speaking, there's like a 1 in 3 chance that this will actually be unsuccessful and a 2 out of 3 chance that it will be successful. Well, you know, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. I don't even know why we're meddling about these things, but I feel like it's just human to have phases where you trust your intuition and then maybe one time you were wrong about something, or one time you feel as though maybe making another choice would have been even better, and then all of a sudden you start with the reasoning again. But group number 4, this card has showed up in your reading to remind you that your gut feeling doesn't lie. If you feel like something's up, something is most likely up. Then we have the 9 of Pentacles as well as the 4 of Swords. So we have a lot of swords here. There's so much air sign energy in January of 2020. It's crazy, group number 4. So in the 4 of Swords, one thing that I see here is that, you know, there's kind of like mental exhaustion. There is time here for you to dream, time here for you to create. I feel as though you're really tired of where you're living, okay, where you're staying. Maybe you live in a big city or just like in a neighborhood that you know you're sick of. Like you always go to the same place, you drive down the same route, and it's just kind of like time for you to brainstorm. It's time for you to make things a little bit more exciting in your life. That is what I see here in the 4 of Swords. And your sleep is really important. So group number 4, you may like to sleep anyways, but maybe you haven't gotten a lot of sleep during December because you have had just like a busy schedule. But January, like, get those 8 hours a night, okay? Get those 8 to 9 hours a night. Just relax, make sure that your skin is glowy and all plump, and you know, just allow yourself to be relaxed, okay? Allow your body to be relaxed. Really take care of that. Sleep is so important and can be so underrated, but not here, group number 4. We love our sleep on this channel. Then in the 9 of Pentacles, one thing that I see here for you is that you're very close to a completion financially, as well as just like in your career, okay? So this could also be like in your academic career, because I think, you know, going to school, for some people, that is right now your career. Just because you did not want or choose to start working at 18, but instead you continue pursuing school, then that is your career. That is what you're doing on a everyday basis that is just like giving you your purpose, right? Because right then your purpose is to study. You chose to do that. So do not feel like I'm not speaking to you if you're studying or you're furthering just like your academic knowledge. I want you to know here that there is some sort of little obstacle that will come in your way. So at work, at your studies, where you feel like you've hit a wall, but the wall is actually just like a tiny little fence made out of straws. And that is what I'm here to communicate with you, group number 4. This is just a tiny obstacle that seems really big, you know? It's like trying to just shake you up a little bit. But you're not going to allow that to happen, group number 4, because you're so close to being at a point where, for instance, you have that awesome grade, you pass that class, or you get that promotion, you get to that point where you can successfully launch your side hustle. That is what I see here, but there is just one little obstacle beforehand that you need to know that you can overcome, okay? There is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want you to allow this situation to make you so insecure that you fall off your track, okay? Persevere. That is one thing that is very important for you, group number 4, in January of 2020, especially when it comes to your time management as well as your finances. Make sure that you don't allow anything to distract you or make you feel like there's no way you can make it work. Then we have the Charoite as well as the Fluorite. So in the Charoite, one thing that I see here is that you're being watched over, you're being protected spiritually, physically, also energetically, okay? And your like energy field is so important because that decides what kind of people come into your life. For instance, when you start a new job or you go to a new school, there's a reason why you're friends with the people that you become friends with, or there's a reason why you end up maybe not really having any friends. That has everything to do with the energy that you're putting out. So you may be completely happy not having many friends, but you may also feel as though, you know, something is wrong with you. But I don't want you to feel that way, group number 4. I want you to know that protection is here also energetically, and sometimes the universe, you know, whatever it is that you believe in, is keeping certain people away from you because they are not compatible with you, okay? They are not meant to be with you. When you try and force friendships or you try to become friends with somebody where from the beginning you have a little bit of a strange feeling, usually what happens, you know, they betray you, they do something that really hurts your feelings, and you think to yourself, I would have just rather been by myself. So that is kind of what I get here out of the Charoite. Do not be concerned if you don't link up or click up with people very quickly. There's a reason why you're being protected from a certain group of people or maybe a certain person, okay? Particularly an ex or somebody who you had a deep connection with, or you thought you had a deep connection with, that made an exit for whatever reason and then tries to make a reappearance. So in the fluorite, I want you to know here that it's just more important for you to focus on your natural beauty, to focus on your body, and that is exactly what we spoke about in the Four of Swords. So sleep and rest up. Make sure that you drink up, okay? If you're dehydrated right now, like drink a little sip of water. Make sure that you rehydrate if you feel like you haven't had vitamins for the entire day. And I'm not, no, okay? Not if you feel like, if you know, because you know, group number 4. Then go to your fridge, go to wherever it is that you have your food. Make sure that you just bite into an apple. Make sure that next time you go out, you purchase something that is nutritiously valuable, and just like focus on your body, okay? Focus on recuperating. I feel like maybe you partied a lot during December or New Year's and you've been kind of like neglecting how many nutrients you really need, and now is the time to stock them back up, group number 4. And then we have compassion. So be compassionate in January, group number 4. It's very important for you to allow this side of yourself to shine. It may come with a lot of opportunity, because you never know when you're being compassionate to somebody, when you're really being understanding, you know, what they will be able to do for you when you need them. So obviously there is no guarantee, and in this day and age, sadly, there are a lot of people who just come to the buffet of your compassion to take a little plate to go and then never show up again, okay? And also not pay the bill. So yes, we have that sort of demographic, but at the same time, there are still good people out there. And I don't want you to feel as though this world has completely gone to like blank, okay? I'm not gonna say it, but you get what I'm saying. Allow yourself to know that there are good people out there, and in order to meet them, in order to form a connection with them, like you have to put a little bit of yourself out there. You have to put a little bit of like your compassionate streak, just in order to signalize like, hey, I'm a real one too, you know, and you'll know when you meet a fellow unicorn, okay? So let's move further into your reading. We have negativity. So group number 4, don't let it get to you, okay? There's a reason why you're being like extra protected in January, and there's probably just sort of like something that is trying to get into your life that is negative. So it may be a person, it may be just like a situation, and sometimes it is unavoidable. Sometimes things just happen that are anything but positive, but you have to keep in mind, like, you can overcome little obstacles, okay? So we spoke about that here in the 9 of Pentacles. Like, not everything is a huge ball of negativity. Not everything actually that comes into your life initially is negativity has to then end up being negativity. You know, you can actually transform and transcend energies and just switch them, you know, change them into something that they maybe did not appear as at first. So making a situation that was difficult into something great. So if you, for instance, lost your job, or you, for instance, are just in a financial like rut, allow yourself to do Project Pan that month. Allow yourself to, you know, recuperate your finances by doing a no-buy month or setting budgets. And then as soon as you recuperate, you don't all of a sudden throw away your weekly food budget. No, you stick to it, and then you live within those means comfortably. And at the end of the day, you'll end up having a lot more to spend because you got used to being able to be frugal. You got used to knowing exactly like what it makes sense to spend money on and whatnot. Obviously, this is just an example, but that is what I mean with turning a negative experience into a positive. Then we have the citrine as well as the topaz. So group number 4, in the citrine, one thing that I see here is that you're unnecessarily worried in January, and that it is important for you to just forgive, okay? So you may be very worried because there is something that you're afraid of, an outcome, or something may be happening to your loved ones. And these worries are unnecessary, because worrying does not only cause wrinkles, does not only cause your cells to be damaged, okay? It is also something that mentally just constantly puts you in this state of stress, of friction, that can in the long run actually cause like severe forms of depression. It can really cause you to build up that anxiety. You know, it can cause you to become somebody who has anxiety attacks, or who has anxiety to the point where they struggle to even leave the house, where they struggle to even be in a new environment. So really watch that, and also allow yourself to release any sort of like repressed anger that may have been within you because you've been just so focused on worrying. Know that worry can sometimes make other emotions sort of like be amplified. It can make other emotions feel heightened. So any sort of anger that you have, anything that you feel like is blocking your health and your happiness, let go of it. That is what I see in the topaz. Know that forgiveness really does heal. Forgiveness really is something that can, you know, not only mentally heal, but also physically, because when you're holding on to things, experiences, you know, and things that people may have done to you. So this is not even your fault, okay? This is something that was completely out of your control and you're holding on to it. Guess who it's affecting the most? I mean, it's you know, and guess who is affecting their health, not only mentally, but also physically, by not allowing themselves to move on from repressed anger, from resentment. It is honestly so important for you to hear this, group number 4, because I feel like there is something that has transpired that you are still struggling with, and you may have to hear it a few times before you can implement it. But keep in mind that really moving on, really forgiving, really letting go of resentment and seeing it in an objective way is best for you. You don't have to forget. You don't have to allow it to happen again, but what you can do is not allow it to affect you right now in a negative way. So then last but not least, we have the emerald as well as the Azurite. So group number 4 in the emerald, one thing that I see here is that there's celebrations happening for you in January, and there will be sort of festivities that you can already pencil into your calendar in January. So birthdays, weddings, engagements, there may be a birth, there may be somebody who, you know, is all of a sudden going to adopt a child, maybe a dog, maybe another pet, and these are all occasions that you have to be a part of. So make sure that you make time for them, as well as just, you know, be there for those important life passages and make those memories last forever, okay? Be the person taking pictures, be the person who writes them like a little thank you note, a little thank you card, and that RSVPs instantly in order to make the entire experience feel good, in order to, you know, just show that you're grateful to be a part. And in the Azurite, one thing that I see here is that you have to release any sort of people-pleasing tendencies and replace those with being assertive. Replace those with feeling empowered, because when you're always trying to please other people, you end up sometimes displeasing yourself. You end up doing a disservice to yourself. Is displeasing even a word? Probably not, but you're doing a disservice to yourself, group number 4. And then at the end of the day, you know, that is not the point. Pleasing other people should always come from a place where you genuinely want to, not where you feel like you're pressured to. If you feel pressured to please somebody else, empower yourself, tell yourself you're not doing that anymore, and allow yourself to really do what you've wanted to do in your heart, okay? So don't feel pressured to do anything for anybody that you don't have the time for, or that you don't have the nerve for. And it's completely okay, group number 4, you don't have to feel bad about it, because at the end of the day, like, being authentic is more important. It does not make sense to do something for somebody that you don't really feel like doing. It does not make sense to please other people and then come home and feel drained, and come home and feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So focus on these aspects, group number 4. This is a reading that I received for you about January of 2020. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that it gave you motivation as well as inspiration. Let me know down below what really hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings.